Hi, I'm Dave Wurzel, and you're watching PHTV4. This is Police Update, and today we are talking with Palos Heights Police Chief Mike Yott. Chief Yott, thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We're going to get a year in review. We'll talk about how 2025 went for the department. Before we do that, this was also your first year in the position, and maybe let's visit that first. What was that first year like for you? And I'm going to ask, I'll let you think about it. I mean, what did you learn in the process? Because you knew what the job was, but you probably always learned some things when you're actually in that seat.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's definitely, I think you hit it on the head. I think for me, that's one of those things is, hey, I've been around for 21 years. You kind of grow up in the department. You learn about the ropes. I'd been in my previous spot for 5 years. You always think you know what's going on, and then you get to the next level, and there's always something that surprises you. So there's always new challenges, new relationships, new responsibilities. That for me was probably the biggest thing in this first year, is kind of learning those things that, okay, I didn't have to do this before, but now this is my responsibility. And then that combined with, with this move, with the retirement of Chief Jakowski and me moving up, that also triggered other movement. So, we have other, new sergeant, moving some people around to the detective's office, new deputy chief. So we got a lot of people moving into new roles. So it's a lot of coordination, a lot of keeping those challenges going and making sure guys are learning their new roles and, kind of keeping everything together. So,
and I can imagine there is a learning curve. And then in addition, the movement of staff. Reflectively, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. How do you feel about how that first year for you was? Like looking at what the year was and thinking what you want to, address in the next year.
Yeah, I think it went really well. I think the challenges that were brought to us, there were some challenges with coming in. We had some new stuff this year. We brought Shepherd High School into town this year. That was a little bit of a challenge. We had union contract negotiations. We had a bunch of different things going on this year. We had an eligibility test for hiring. So it was a busy year administratively for us. So bringing that stuff in, but I think everyone stepped up. Everybody kind of, even if they were a little uncomfortable with, hey, my new role or whatever, everybody figured out what they needed to do and kind of moved forward with that. So it really kind of made it a little bit easier for me too, knowing that I've got good people around me and
having a good team.
A lot of support. Yes, 100%. And that's from the city down. The mayor has been super supportive of us, always checking in and making sure we're on the right path. City Hall, everything. So it really is a good support system. So it's been a good year, and we've had a lot of success with this transition.
Good. I love to hear that as a resident. And you mentioned those are big items. They're not casual contract negotiation. The Shepherd thing, which maybe seems like a small thing, I know it has a huge ripple effect through the community and the department. And then, like you're saying, the eligibility, that is a lot going on that we're aware of some of it, but not the nuts and bolts experience of it, maybe. Right. So maybe, and kind of related to that, then you talked about, the staff and the team you have around you. How many officers do we have now? Because I think you grew a little bit this year.
We did. We actually moved. We've typically been at 28 person department. We did add 2 spots, so we are at 30. As far as our manpower, we are currently down 2 people, so we are in the process of going through background investigations and hiring 2 more. So once we get the new people hired, we'll be at 30 full-time officers, and then all of our support staff as well.
Okay, and I was going to say, hiring a police officer is not like filling any other position.
No,
there's a process involved.
It's a very long and tedious process. Yeah, it does. It takes a long time. We do a very thorough background investigation. It takes months and months typically to get through the background investigations and all of the exams and everything else.
And the training prep.
Yeah, it's a very different. Yeah, training. Once you get, it takes several months to get people hired. Depending, the academy now is 4 to 5 months. If they go to an academy, if we happen to hire somebody who's already certified as a police officer, it still takes 3 to 4 months to acclimate them to our procedures and our way of doing business. So. It's a long process to
Okay.
get somebody on
We're
board.
not, yeah, I get it. We're not filling a simple little job.
Correct,
here. No,
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
major responsibility with this job. And so let's get to what I wanted to tell you, kind of related to the job now. 2025 in review. I mean, can you give us kind of a quick rundown, some statistical rundown of what it was like for the Palos Heights?
Yeah,
Police
I
Department?
think it definitely, with those challenges we kind of already talked about, I mean, just from a standard, just kind of, I pulled a couple of real brief stats. We did over 2,600 traffic stops, 214 arrests for the year, and we handled over 400 traffic crashes. As a whole, what we call is call for service. We handled about between 14,000 and 15,000 calls for service.
How do those numbers feel to compare? You've been, with the department for 21 years, like you said. Are those numbers like trending up or down? Are they kind of flatlining?
It kind of depends. It definitely, I would say they're trending up a little bit in terms of, contacts. So when we say calls for service, it's not necessarily crimes. It's not necessarily, a call for service for us is, and kind of get into what you were talking about, is that we kind of run the gamut on stuff we do.
Right.
Some of the stuff is we're purely informational, like, hey, this is going on in town, or hey, that roadway is going to be shut down, and we need to just be aware of those things.
Right.
All the way, run all the way to the other side to major crimes. We have anything in between. So a call for service could be anything from a very mundane, just taking information in that our officers are aware, that we're aware of what's going on in the city, to reacting to something
I was going to
major.
say, because, right, and I know some of the numbers, like looking at this year to last year, some of the numbers are down. Some numbers we should be very concerned about, and they're not like alarming in any sense. But like you said, the numbers include so many other things. I want to ask you about some of these, and I would never think of this. I know you guys, you've got a category here, assist another agency. That generated 318. So in that 14 to 15,000 number, 318 of that. What is assisting another agency?
Yeah, so that can be anything. Typically what that means is that we're helping a nearby agency. So, if Worth has a major traffic crash or something like that, and they need assistance shutting down a roadway, or if we have a piece of equipment, we have a drone and drone pilots. So sometimes that can be handy for other agencies.
Right.
So it's basically like a mutual aid agreement type of thing, where we kind of work with all the other agencies. I think what we've seen definitely over the past 15, 20 years is while our agency is responsible for Palos Heights, there is more and more interaction with outside agencies, and you're finding that crime is happening all over the place. So it's no longer is something confined to, hey, we have a burglar in town. They're all over the Chicagoland area.
Right.
So there's a lot
People
of
coming from the outside, or even
Yes.
if they're here, they're going to head out, whatever the case is.
Correct. So there's a lot of interaction with outside agencies, a lot of technology built in that we can interact with other agencies and share information, stuff like that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I guess as a resident, I mean, I think it's good to know that, but also personally, I like the idea that there is cooperation between the neighboring communities.
Yeah, those typically are us assisting others, but that also goes the
We
other
get
way.
assistance the
Yeah,
other way.
Exactly. When we need help, we can call these guys and have them come in as well.
I want to ask about a couple other here that, I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole list because this is really long, but you've even responded to like carbon monoxide calls. I mean, that's in that 41 or 14,000. How about, here's a category, it's citizens assist?
Yeah, so that's kind of just a catch-all.
Okay.
The citizen assist is kind of something that most of the time those are people just needing advice, or hey, something happened, I got a weird email, or I had a run-in with somebody at work, or whatever it might be.
Right.
And they just kind of want to come and talk to an officer and kind of talk through like, hey, what could my options be? What could this?
Okay.
So a lot of times it's just that. Sometimes it could just be simply like us helping them out with something.
I was saying that category generated, almost 1,000 by itself.
Right.
But
Yes.
that is the day-to-day routine of
Yes.
what you guys deal with.
Yes.
One other category, because I fall into this category, and I want to encourage people to take advantage, house checks.
Yeah. House checks.
You guys did almost 3,000.
Yeah,
house checks.
that is definitely something that we offer. A lot of people do take advantage of it. You go away on a vacation or you're gone for a weekend. You can actually access it online.
Yeah.
If you're not real tech savvy, you can always just call the station and just say, hey, we're going out of town for a couple days. And typically what we do is our community service officers will just take a walk around your house each day that you're gone and just make sure, hey, the windows are locked up, there's nothing.
Nobody's moved in.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of just make sure things look secure. And,
Yeah, I've heard those horror stories. I'm going to tell you, personal peace of mind to be able to go on vacation, to know that there's going to be a check.
Yeah.
Makes it easier to enjoy those few days away.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
And there's so many other categories here, but it's interesting, that number encompasses, so many, things that you guys deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I guess, I don't know if, we can elaborate on that. I mean, like, is there a typical day? I mean, what does a day look like?
Yeah, I guess you could always say there's a typical day, but I think especially in our business, it does tend to be unusual a lot. Going back to like the stats, when we're talking about calls for service, that's handled by our patrol division. That's the bulk of our department. That's the bulk of the guys. Those are the guys you're seeing, the men and the women that you're seeing out on the streets, and they're in the marked cars and stuff like that. They do the bulk of our work. So that's the outward facing. That's what the community sees and what people associate with the police. Their main goal is, to answer calls, to help people out where they need to, respond to the emergencies, all the stuff you think about with the police department. But then beyond that, there's so many more things that go on. We have a records division, our detective division. We have task force guys who are out working larger cases beyond Palos Heights.
Crisis intervention team.
Yes, that's
a
become a huge thing. Our crisis intervention team. We have a community relations team.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things where it's like everybody's day can be a little bit different depending on what your role is, what teams you might be a part of too, and we try to afford our guys the opportunity to kind of see what they are interested in. Because obviously, as you're interested in something, you're going to put a little more effort into it than this. So we look for opportunities for our men and women to kind of, be trained in what they enjoy, and that's going to help our community.
Absolutely. Be safer and function better. And maybe that's a good lead into 2026 here, because I did want to ask you, whether your goals are department goals, what does 2026 look like for the department? I'd like to talk about if you have any advice or, safety tips for people in the community. Before we do that, though, can I ask, I know you guys have big events every year, right? Can you give us a rundown of what's coming up or when we might
for
see
sure.
it going?
So one of our big things in law enforcement in general, and it's always been a big part of our department, is we support Special Olympics. So throughout the year we do several events to do fundraising for Special Olympics. Unfortunately for right now, for this interview, we don't have dates for a lot of them, but we do have what's called a polar plunge, which is a bunch of our officers get crazy and they go jump in a pool and really cold weather.
I'm impressed. That should be coming up in about a month or two, I think, right?
the date's not set, but that is typically right around the beginning of March that they set that up. Then coming into May, we also do, if you guys have ever seen us driving around, a cop on a rooftop over at the Duncan locations. So that's another fundraiser we do for
And that's
Special
in the spring
Olympics.
sometime.
Yeah,
also,
they
right?
typically sometime in May they do that, but that one's not set. And shortly after that, we also do the law enforcement torch run.
Okay.
So that is something that we kind of just support Special Olympics in general. Is we get a bunch of guys together. and they jog, they carry the flags, they move the torch, and it's basically bringing the torch down to the summer games for the Special Olympics.
Definitely want to encourage people, look for these events coming up, the Polar Plunge, Cap on a Rooftop, and the Torch Front. All coming up over the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, always feel free. We always invite people to come and if they want to take the plunge.
And the big event, which I've gone to the last few years, which I definitely recommend everybody in the community to attend, is in August.
Correct. Yeah, National Night Out. This will be it'll be August 4th.
So this we have the date.
Yeah. So this one it's always going to be the first Tuesday of August. National Night Out. It's become bigger and bigger every year. Yeah, it's a great time. It's by far our biggest event that we run at the police department. It's just a good night for the community to come out, and we always have the kids running around and do some demonstrations, do station tours, let them see what the department's about, what it looks like inside.
Right. And it is a chance to talk with the officers away from when something is happening.
Right. Right. Yes.
All right. So all great events. Encourage people to check those things out. How about any advice? And I know you probably could do this endlessly because there's so many areas that you might suggest people, hey, be careful this way or do this. Any quick tips you want to throw out there right now for people to consider?
I think you're right. I mean, a lot of this stuff is, we can say the same things over and over, but it is a good reminder. I think a lot of things is, when you're at your house, keep your doors locked, lock up your cars, stuff like that. One of the things I think we see a lot of this past year and is just progressing is a lot of financial crimes. It's not necessarily people's, I shouldn't say that we don't see stuff locally, because we do see pieces of mail being stolen and credit cards being stolen out of the mail. But I would encourage people to be very vigilant about their financial situations. Scams are everywhere, and they come fast. They come through every means. They come through phone calls, through emails, through texts, through everything anymore. Yeah. So it's kind of one of those where I would ask people to be vigilant about that and question people. There's we see a lot where it's somebody says, hey, we need you to do this. Go to buy these gift cards and you'll pay it off. That's not normal.
Right.
It's a lot of common sense, and people they use people's fear against them.
Yeah.
So they think something's going to happen, but question it. And I would say, if you have a question, come to us, give us a call. We'll help walk you through it. If it is a legitimate thing, then that can get carried on. But most likely, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And I hate to say it, with the advancements we're seeing in artificial intelligence, these scams are getting better and better, because some of the telltale signs that we used to be able to look for aren't there anymore. They're starting to get a little more advanced in the ability to pull off these scams.
It sounds like excellent advice. I feel like when I look back at 2025, the amount of either text or emails or robocall type things I got where it was some type of scam, and initially you're not sure. You kind of have to okay, and then hit the pause button, make the phone call if you're not sure. I like the idea. Call the police department. Don't hesitate. And typically, because you shouldn't need to respond immediately to these things.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Well, Chief Yott, thank you very much. Congratulations on 2025.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope you have a lot of more good years. I know you guys do a great job of making the community, myself, we feel safe. We know things are going on, but obviously it feels quiet, and in general things are good. So
excellent. Well, I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. And good luck in 2036.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being here. I'm Dave Worzel. You've been watching PHTV4 Police Update. We've been talking with Palos Heights Police Chief Mike Yott. Thank you for watching, and be safe.